Welcome to the Screen Grab Studio, and it's great to have Brendon Zub here today, who is an actor. So if you're an actor or you're getting into acting, I'm excited about this because I want to pull back the curtain a little bit into it. I've done a lot of presenting, but not acting.
Yeah.
And you've been in some epic-looking movies, Brendon. Like I saw Batwoman.
Yeah, Batwoman TV series.
Yep.
Yeah, a few movies, mostly Hallmark, kind of romance, Lifetime, comedy genre these days, more often than not. But yeah, I did a series, Batwoman and Charmed for a bit. And,
Wow.
Yeah, the variety of roles, 100 in Netflix and stuff like that.
Oh,
So.
that's awesome. I just watched a bit of your IMDb video, so like check it out. Check out Brendon on IMDb. You kind of like, my first reaction was like, man, you remind me a bit of like Ryan Gosling. I don't know if that's a compliment or not, but
yeah,
he's a big actor.
I get a bit of Ryan Gosling, Ryan Reynolds mix sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes Chris Evans, depending on what I'm wearing or looking. And Jonathan and I were watching Ghosted on, I think it was Prime or one of the shows, Apple TV, and he's like, it looks like you in some of the clips.
Yeah.
It just depends on my frame and hairdo and stuff like that. But I do get that sometimes. But
That is so cool, man. Man, it must be so fun being an actor. And I know that there's like life off camera and then there's life on camera. So being an actor, like I think of it as like you basically like you're an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
You're going out there. Like today we filmed an audition reel for you, right?
yes, you did. Big help.
Yeah. And you killed it. It was cool getting to be in the room watching you just own your craft on the spot.
Oh, thank you.
But there's all sorts of different sides to acting because you market yourself, you work with your agent. Tell us a little bit about that. For those of us that are watching that maybe don't know much about what's the real thing behind acting? Because all we see is the movies and the incredible work you put out there. But like what goes on behind the scenes in, into acting?
Oh yeah, there's all facets.
Yeah.
But primarily it's coaching.
Yeah?
Coaching like film school. That's where I started.
Yep.
I was just an aspiring actor when I was 18, 19 years old. I finished university to calm my parents down. And then
what did you study in uni? People always say they studied at uni, but we never know what things studied.
Well, I love stories, so I studied history and majored in it, and some philosophy. I just love the stories of history. I was like, well, if I'm getting a degree, if I'm not doing it in film, something else, I might as well be something I like, and might as well be something that has good stories that I can maybe use sometime in the future if I ever make movies. So I stuck in that genre, and then I graduated, went up northern Canada to save up some money for film school because it can be very pricey.
Yeah. Well, like $20,000,
$30,000 for the year. I found a much cheaper school. I advise not going to the most expensive school.
Yeah.
You don't need to. If you work hard, you're talented, and you're motivated, you can learn so much in acting classes here and there, part-time. Go to professional coaches.
Yeah.
That's what I would recommend if I had a kid starting out.
Does it kind of come down to you as an individual, the amount of work that you're putting into the lessons that you're getting, right?
Yeah, and it doesn't always pay off right away. Like, I was doing years of acting. My brother would say I'm acting my whole life, making him laugh, doing funny impressions, but it takes time and commitment, just like anything. That first book that sells 1 million copies, that writer, it's not his first book. He's written and failed many times before. Yeah. Same with us actors. We're auditioning, saying no, rejected, and then you get better, you hone your craft, and then you're like, oh, that's the guy we want for the role. If you keep showing up, they need all types of people for roles. All ages, ethnicities, heights, everything.
That'll be one of the beautiful things about acting, right? Like you could do it into your old age, you know? There's characters of all sorts. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody says like, well, how long are you going to go till you make it? There's like this make it, but I'm making it every day.
Yeah.
And it's something you love doing, then you do it every day.
Yeah.
You'll do an audition, a commercial here, TV show here, movie here, and it's an up and down career like anything.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I mean, it's like any business. Some businesses, don't profit a month or two or three or what, you know what I mean? Like it's like that. I heard Steve Carell, he actually came to New Zealand actually, and I watched him, he was on the news.
Oh, okay.
And they interviewed him and they said, what's it like now that you've made it? And he said, made it? Now, we never make it.
Yeah.
He's like, you know,
no
you talk to,
guarantees.
you talk to like an A-lister actor or whatever, and he's like, the next, once their movie's finished, the next day they're on the phone, like looking for the next one, kind of thing, right?
We're
Like
unemployed after every job. So.
Yeah. So you must build like a lot of faith in yourself and just learn to live with that. And I guess over the years you must have seen like a cycle. So you're like, yeah, work will come.
Yeah.
And the better you get, the better it gets.
Yeah, my one of my acting teachers from years ago, he said, whenever they say no, it just means next one.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's a very hopeful, positive way to look at it, because you can't if you get too much in your head, what am I doing? Am I acting right? Am I doing this? And you become a robot and you overthink it, and it's never good. You want to be free. You want to do this, do your work, study the material, prep it, and do the best you can in that time. Like I've seen in countless rooms, worse actors booking the role because they look that part, or they just have something the other guy doesn't, but the most prepared person doesn't always get it. But then they will always be brought back for the next role. And they're like, oh, I remember this guy. I'm going to bring him back for something else. So it's always been rewarding to me. And even if I failed or haven't got the role I initially wanted, the one around the corner was maybe the one for me to begin with. And that's happened countless times. So.
That is awesome, man.
Actually, an example of a story is I was pinned for a big new show. I was the top 3 choices in Canada.
Oh man, you must be like,
and I was
my goodness.
And you know, you're signing the pre-contract, and your potential 20, 30,000 an episode staring you in the face, and this could make or break it. And I just really wanted it.
Yep.
And you start thinking about it. I didn't get it, and I was so down for a bit. But a month later, after they shot the pilot, the show wasn't picked up. And nobody heard from that show ever again. And the restrictions on that contract was so much that I wouldn't have been able to do other things during those 3-4 months. And because I didn't get it, I got to do my first lead Hallmark romance movie, which gave me a Leo Award, Best Acting Award for a lead in a TV movie for Vancouver, Canada. So you never know when you say no, it's meant to be, and something better around the corner.
Yeah, totally, man. I'd say, I mean, you're in business, man. As an actor, that is your craft, that is your business, and it's the same for lots of industries, or even like say like a building company. They might be tendering on a job or something, and they're like, oh, this would be amazing. And you know, it's just it's the cost of business. That's amazing, man. Well, that's so cool that you've got so much wisdom from seeing that happen throughout your career, and you know,
as anybody. Sometimes I still feel like a newbie sometimes when you're with other actors and even actors you look up to, but in the end you realize they're just all human, and they're sometimes even more insecure than you are, or worried about how they look or how they come across, and you're like, wow, we're all in it together, and it's a lot of fun. You all work together to make something.
That is awesome, man. Well, tell us a little bit about that. Like, who are some actors that we might know that you've worked with, not necessarily insecure or whatever, but just ones that you've been excited to work with?
Oh, geez. Well, I don't know of any New Zealand stars I've worked with, but I've worked with Uma Thurman a couple times in a movie and a TV show. That was a lot of fun because I got to drunkenly hit on her in a bar, and then she beat me up like Kill Bill style. So that was fun. But she was such a nice person, offset, and very easy to work with. So that was a surprise. She was one of my biggest kind of A-list stars of old, who I didn't know what to make of her. Yeah. I was like, how do I? And she's just a normal person who, That's cool. And she was great to work with. And ironically enough, one of my first acting gigs was with her. Although I never met her in person, I had a small part in Percy Jackson, the Lightning Bolt Thief movie, and she was a star of that film. And I had one of my beginning roles that made me join the Actors Union. I got in and I saw her wave to the cast as she left one day, and I was like, oh, maybe I hope I get to work with her again someday. And 10 years later, boom. Wow. Big, nice scene with her. So, yeah, I've worked with several amazing people, series stars, but that was definitely a big highlight. That's so cool. Well, it's been really cool getting to work with you today and see you in action as you did that audition today. You're so focused, and your brother, Jonathan, was complimenting how you had an opportunity come up for a role, and you just had to memorize quite a long bit of dialogue. That was probably about 5 minutes of
dialogue, and you've got to get it pretty much word for word.
Yeah, I mean, that's the downside sometimes of the industry. We find out 12, 24 hours before the audition that you have one. And then you get the sides, and you have to memorize them, prep them as best you can, and hit the mark and deliver, which you helped me big time. So
You smashed it. It was so cool
we'll
seeing
see
you in
if I
action.
get the role.
I hope so. Like, I could see it in the movie.
Yeah.
So that was great. So, all right, we'll wrap things up shortly, but I want to make sure that our viewers get some more value out of this. So, like, what are some things that have helped you as you grow your career? Because you're brilliant at what you do, and you're getting some brilliant roles. So, what advice do you have for other people? You know, you say that it's for all ages, shapes, sizes, nationalities.
I think the biggest advice I get is don't only train or get professional training for acting. Live life, because you learn so much in everyday life. Love, heartbreak. Just don't say no to life experiences, because some of those experiences get you gold in your audition.
And what do you mean by that? Do you mean like because you get to experience an emotion
Yep.
they haven't felt before?
Yeah, you experience life in a way, well, similar to other people, but it's unique to you.
Yeah.
But it's also something you can draw from if it's an emotional scene, or if it's a dramatic scene, or whatever scene they're looking for. Because as an actor, you're the instrument of a film, and you have to be attuned for the director, who's the composer. He's like, I want you to play this note. I'd like it to be on key. So your job is to deliver what the director wants in his vision of the film. Often you're allowed to interpret it your way, but they want to finesse you. They want to get something. You should be able to deliver that. And I think that comes with a lot of life experience, or just living life and learning from that.
That's cool. So do you like to take a note of moments that you go through in life? Like, what am I feeling right now?
Oh, yeah. It's very, I mean, acting class can be therapy to a lot of people, because what they don't realize is acting coaches and teachers, they want to delve in. Like, well, why did this happen? Why do you feel this way? And there's a lot of introspection and, thinking on how did that affect me, and how do I feel about it? And just being aware of how you feel about things and who you are as a person. And when you have that, you know who you are. And when you do it more and more often, you can draw from those experiences quicker. And that's the only difference between a novice actor and a more experienced actor, I think. Some people pick it up really quickly, but some of my best notes or direction to new actors when I'm training them or when I'm coaching them is like, this will come once you experience that. Unless you can mimic it. Some people can mimic it, but if you can empathize with the situation, you can make a what if and kind of like draw it into your life. Or if you've experienced that yourself, then you can really pick it up well.
That's
so
amazing.
that's kind of how it goes in many ways. But
that's amazing. Yeah. That must be why. Like, it's so impressive when you see someone who's really young at acting, like a kid, like an 8-year-old, and they're doing a great job of acting particular emotions. You're like, oh my goodness, how does that kid even like in order to act it? You think that they have to actually really understand the context of the situation and
well, they're often told what it is, and they might never been in it, but their imagination. Like for me, my strength was imagination. I grew up in a boarding school, sheltered life, and what helped me was my imagination, reading, history, books, stories. That's what helped me kind of open up, like, what if this happened? What if I was like this? So I always act from a real place, but I guess it's, if I've never experienced or been through something like that, I'm like, well, what if? Because everybody has a form of sorrow, a form of tragedy or trauma, and you can draw it, you can milk it, you can bring it up, make it bigger than it was, and you can really tap into that, and people won't know the difference if you can deliver.
Wow, so that's awesome. Hey, thanks for this chat, by the way.
No, it was my pleasure.
It's really, really cool to meet you and see you in action. And if you want to check out Brendon Zub, then look him up. I'm sure you're on social media and IMDb. And check out the Batwoman series on Netflix, was it?
Yeah, I think it was on Netflix for a while. I'm not sure where it's at, but
Look it up.
I did that a few years ago, and some others, and
Yeah.
Mostly Hallmark and Lifetime romance Christmas movies these days. So
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. That would be so hard. By the way, I'm just thinking to do that kind of thing. I feel like I'd be so awkward in like a rom-com or something. Like,
yeah.
was it like hard? Like, does it feel cheesy or unnatural or anything? Or does
No,
it
they're
just
very
flow?
fun. It's the scripts are very generic. A lot of them are very similar.
Oh, yeah.
But they just try to bring out that place of innocence where families can sit back, enjoy Christmas with their family, turn something on, and just feel good at home. And so those are often I like them. They're very easy and fun. My parents like watching them, so that's always nice for them to see me up there. But yeah. But at the same time, whether I'm doing a Hallmark, a Lifetime drama, or horror or film, it's all coming from a similar place. It's just tweaked one way or the other. So.
That's cool. Hey, is there anything else that you would like to share about acting? Otherwise, we'll wrap things up there.
Oh no, just if you're thinking of doing it, give it a try. Take an acting class. They're fun, easy, and you can learn lots and have a lot of fun, even if you don't pursue it as a career. But yeah.
That's cool, man. Well, thanks heaps for coming in. Oh, my brother's off on his motorbike out there.
Cool.
So thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you, Brendon, for this insightful interview. Fantastic to meet you, man.
Oh, it's a pleasure meeting you, sir.
And 2024, I bet it's going to be a big year for you, man. So let's
I hope
support
so.
Brendon, man. Smash it.
All right, thanks, guys.